if you want to get $500 million in real estate, listen to people like Todd Dexheimer and other people who have already achieved it.
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Hello, welcome back to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. With me we got Matt Jones. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Todd?
I'm doing well. Welcome back. Hump Day Hustle. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. First of all, Matt, and all our listeners, happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, indeed. Happy Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Plenty to be thankful for, right? This year, at least for me, and I'm sure for many of our listeners, you as well. It's been a great year. There's been a lot of good things that have happened. Of course, there's some not so good things that likely took place too. But man, we just have to stop, reflect sometimes, and really think about how we've been blessed. You know, how things have just gone so well. And really, honestly, if you're alive, you're doing pretty well, right? You know, that's maybe the other alternative. You're not alive. So if you're listening to this, be thankful. Be thankful for just being able to listen to podcasts. Look, being able to be having an open mind. And there's just so much to be grateful for right now. And I think there always is. And I know people can get, and we all can, myself included, right? We get caught up in the daily grind, or, you know, the daily news. And we just had these elections and it didn't go, you know, half the country's way. And we can sit here and go, oh my gosh, things are going to be so bad. I hear it every time, Matt. It's funny. You hear, you know, for probably the last, 50 elections, probably even before, probably even longer than that. Every time after the election, because it doesn't go half the people's way, they're like, oh man, it's the end of the country. This country's ruined. You know, we're all screwed. And for some reason, it doesn't happen. It's still America. It's still the greatest country on earth, and still an amazing amount of opportunity out there. And maybe your candidate or candidates didn't win. And sure, would it have been nice if they would have? Sure. Could some maybe positives in your business or in your life happen if they do get elected? Maybe. But in the end, I just don't get too caught up. And so, you know what? I'm just thankful for being in a country like we're in, with opportunity. I'm just so much available opportunity. And again, yeah, maybe everything's not perfect, but there's so much to be grateful for.
Well, absolutely. I mean, one good thing about America is you can become whatever you want to become. Like, you're not like set into, you know, a pre-established thing from birth. Like, and I think with all these negative and positive things in life, you find whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for problems and how your life sucks, that's what you're going to find. You're going to see evidence to support that. But if you're looking for how wonderful your life is and good things, you're going to find and concentrate on those, and you get more as a result.
Yeah, you are a victim of how you decide your life is going to be, right? So we have, all of us have things that happen to us in life, and all of us take different meanings from those things. So your life is just a result of the meaning that you give the circumstances and the events that happen in your life. Right. And so I was listening to a podcast with this guy who, you know, he got dumped by his girlfriend. Then that, you know, it was horrible. And, you know, he's super depressed and all that. And he got in this horrible car accident, nearly died. And I mean, this story is a story that's told over and over by many different people, you know, similar things, you know. And there's two ways to look at it. You know, one way is to go, man, I just never have any good luck. Just bad things happen to me. And it's just always going to continue to happen to me. There's so many bad things that come my way all the time. I'm just so unlucky, so unfortunate, blah, blah, blah. And the other mindset is, holy crap, I almost lost my life. Holy crap. Like, I just about married the person that was wrong for me. And now I'm going to change my life to the positive because of whatever circumstance happened. I'm going to take that as a more of a meaning, like more of, hey, this happened. I should be dead right now, but I'm not. And I'm going to take full advantage of my life and everything I've been given and be so grateful that I am alive and be so grateful that, you know, God or the universe or whatever you believe gave me a second opportunity to still be here and has woken me up to now become the giant that I can become. There's two different mindsets. And then you're, you know, you're going to be the product of whatever. If you want to be a victim, you'll be a victim. If you want to take responsibility and take advantage of the circumstances that happen to come your way, you're going to, you know, you're going to be the giant that you can become.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, life is what you make it to be.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely, man.
All right, and now we got to make this podcast what we meant it for it to be. So let's get back on topic.
Yeah, man.
We actually plan to talk about how you and your partners in Endurus have been able to, you know, acquire and buy $500 million in real estate, $500 million. Oh my gosh.
$500 million. It's just, you know, it's really cool. And I don't spend much time thinking about it, but when I do, it's like, wow, you know, that is something kind of cool to think about. And again, be grateful for, be thankful for. You know, I started as a school teacher. I started with zero units. I didn't come from I didn't have a silver spoon. And of course, most of the listeners never had that either, right? Most of America, most of the world was never handed stuff to them. So they've started from scratch. Most people, and the vast majority of self-made millionaires and billionaires don't, it's not generational, right? They started out poor or middle class, you know, or, you know, maybe upper middle class, but most people started out with not much, right? Most people start out like me. You know, I grinded. I went through college. I grinded. My wife and I saved a bunch of money. We were super frugal. We still are, quite frankly. You know, saved up a bunch of money to be able to buy our first rental property. And most people have heard, you know, part or all of this story. You know, bless my wife's heart. She allowed me to invest in my first rental property. That was back in 2008. And that was with basically all of our money. You know, we bought 3 properties kind of all at once, and we used pretty much every last penny we had to get a start. And we're able to be fortunate enough to, you know, just to have some great people that really surrounded me, that helped me. You know, I had a business partner when I was doing the flipping, who, you know, for all purposes, really was a great influence to me. You know, I would say, really helped me become a more confident person. And that partnership ended up splitting because we went separate ways. But it really allowed me to grow and to, you know, become kind of a lot of who I am. And then just a lot of other influential people that really trusted me, and really helped my confidence. And I think about Matt, you know, you might be going, man, I just don't have the confidence. Or maybe you're a younger person. I was thinking about my daughter today, and she, I would say, has a lack of confidence to an extent. She also is very confident, but she doesn't have that confidence as far as like being in front of people, speaking in front of people. I think she's confident in different ways. But I was thinking about that, and I'm like, you know what? When I was younger too, I could never have gotten up on stage and talked to 100, 200, 300 people. But now today, like I love it, right? It's really gets me going to go get up in front of hundreds of people and speak. And I love doing it. And it actually brings me just a ton of energy to be able to do that. And So you're going to gain this level of confidence as you grow and evolve. And there's a lot of people that have really helped me, be able to gain that, have trusted me along the way, my investors, um, just different people that have surrounded me, coaches and people that I've leaned on along the way. And so anyways, fast forward to today, we just fairly recently surpassed 500 million in assets. And that's Endurus and Vitacare. So my multifamily, we got a little bit of retail, we've got an industrial office, we got the senior housing. And so it's just kind of a cool mark to go, wow, you've made it this far. And by no means are we done. Matt, I think the next step is a billion. And then the next step after that is 5 billion, and then 10 billion. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. I'm not going to make any promises. I think the most important part for me as I get older is the impact that it's making. Not only the impact to myself and my family, the impact to my investors, the impact to my residents that live at the property, the impact to the employees that work for us, that work at our locations, or that work outside of our locations for us, doing underwriting, doing the books, doing investor relations, doing whatever they do. So it's more about the impact that we make and how can we grow strategically? How can we grow with purpose, right? It's not just about a big number, because what does half a billion mean, or a billion, or 5 billion mean? It's just a number, really. That's all. And I think it's just a big number. And the cool thing with a big number is you can do big things, and you can do really big, impressive things, but you can also do really big, stupid things too, right? You can do really big, negative things and make negative impact, and do, just do things the wrong way. And that's what we want to make sure we're not doing, right? As we continue to grow, and as we've gotten to this point, it's just really building your business and building your life on purpose.
So it's just kind of one deal at a time and one partner at a time. Having your bigger focus, have your why out there in front of you the entire time to keep driving you, and slowly over time, you just keep building up until you get to that point.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's slow. I had one of my buddies, and I think it was kind of more of a dig a little bit, but we were talking about real estate, and I said, he said, he was asking me some questions, and he said, I said something about, making $300 this was when I was doing mostly single families, duplexes, stuff like that. And I said something about, $300 profit on a single family. And he's like, what, $300 a month profit? So like, he's like, hurry up and wait. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Hurry up and wait. Because that's what you're doing. That's how you're building your business. It's not overnight. Anybody who thinks they're going to build it overnight, it just doesn't happen very often. Every once in a while, somebody will have some overnight success, but a lot of times those overnight success, first of all, most people don't have overnight success. Even if you think it's overnight success, it really isn't. They really we're grinding, working really hard, have some partnerships, maybe, had definitely had potentially some luck along the way, but at the same time, they grinded, they took the risks, they went full head on. And a lot of times though, what happens with these who look like overnight success is they have overnight success and also overnight failure. So you got to be careful with overnight success. If you grow too fast, you grow too quickly, and you're doing it wrong, you're definitely going to have those bumps and bruises. And a lot of times you don't have the experience, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have what's needed. You didn't do it the right way. So you're going to fold pretty quickly. So it is about taking your time, doing it slow, doing it methodically, not worrying about what other people are doing, and I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of looking around and seeing what other people are doing and feeling like I haven't gone fast enough. But at the same time, I'm sure people look at me and do the same thing. And so that's a big thing. You can't look at that. You can't think of what other people are doing, how fast they're going. And you got to look at how you're doing it, and you go, okay, am I doing it the way I want to? Are we building the way our vision says we should be building? are we holding true to our values? And all those types of things. Because just because somebody else is doing it one way, first of all, unless you really intimately know them, you probably don't have all the details of how their business is actually running, right? You don't know how successful they are. You don't know how happy they are. You don't know what kind of influence and impact they're truly making. You don't know how well their business is set up for now and into the future. So you don't know those things, and you're just assuming from the outside, and especially in the social media world, you're assuming from the outside a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's fair. So like people could look at you and think you're an overnight success, but really you are not, because you've been grinding. You've been grinding.
Yeah.
You had successes, failures, everything in between, and many challenges.
Yeah. I mean, Matt, we've talked a lot about different failures that I've had along the way. I've had plenty, and there's plenty that I haven't talked about, and we'll still, end up talking about that in episodes. I mean, I've got, what do we have, Matt, on this show? 556. We're probably approaching 600 episodes within the next
530 something.
Yeah. 530. Okay. So we're approaching 550. I got a little ahead of my skis, but at the same time, I mean, we've got a lot of episodes, man. We talk about failures all the time. One of the questions I consistently try to ask my guests are, what's a failure and how have you learned from it? How can you teach our audience about it? Because you're going to have those along the way. And that's one of the, I would say when I look back and say, hey, 500 million, how did you get there? One of the biggest keys is I was willing to fail. I was willing to take the risk and willing to live with the consequences of that failure. Okay. So, and that's huge. You have to be willing to take a risk. And I'm not talking about stupid, blatant, like non-thoughtful risks, right? I'm very methodical. I'm analytical. I think about what the positives are and measure that and go, okay, what I'm doing has a better probability of winning than losing. However, if I do the right things, right? If I feel like I'm set up the right way, if I have the right people in place and all that kind of stuff. However, there is a decent sized risk that I could fail, and other people that have gone before me have failed doing the same thing. And when I started, Matt, it was 2008, right? And people were failing left and right in 2008. People were going under all the time, constantly. I was buying their failures. Right. That's what I was doing at that time. And I was constantly having people tell me that you can't do this. You're stupid. You're crazy. I had bankers telling me that. I had people that were in the industry telling me that this is stupid. Right. I had other real estate investors saying you can't do this. Now is a terrible time to be in real estate. And, you have to look past that. You have to be willing to fail, and you have to fail. You have to learn from those mistakes, and you have to keep on pushing, and you have to take those risks. So that's a big thing. You take risks and be willing to fail and be willing to push on and move beyond those failures that do end up coming.
Well, so that sounds like it takes a lot of time and effort and energy. But really, I think it's a lot simpler than you're making out to. In order to buy $500 million in real estate, all you really need is just like $150 million to put as a down payment, and then get a loan for the rest. Boom, you're there.
Yeah. And that's true, right? That's all you need. And so you just got to figure out how to get there. That's it. And so, if you got that rich uncle, or, probably play the lottery. I think that's a good, valuable thing to teach our.
That's right. I forgot I don't have $100 million in cash. So.
Yeah. The lottery gets you there pretty quick. Man, again, looking back, it's about the education. And I already talked about surrounding yourself with excellent people and being educated all the time. And so, today is so much easier to become educated, in my opinion, than it ever has. The information's out there. Like, there's so much information out there, Matt. I mean, we're doing a podcast right now, right. I mean, it's just like information at people's fingertips immediately. When I was first doing this, I had pretty good information too, but it wasn't quite like today. Today is like right now. I can get it right now, and I can surround myself with people that have the right type of mindset. We just talk about surrounding yourself with excellent people. Well, guess what? When I was first learning and doing this, a lot of the excellent people I was surrounding myself were with authors, right? With people I would listen to on audio CDs and tapes, right? And so I'm listening to Ken McElroy, Robert Kiyosaki, Robert Allen, Carlton Sheets, you name it, David Lindahl, whoever. I mean, you name them. A lot of you listeners have heard of those names and probably listened to some of the same people. But today you can just pop in a podcast and on our Audible book and hear it like real time practically. So it's so cool. I mean, there's so much opportunity to learn. And then there's all kinds of conferences and I think when you hear it over and over and over again, Matt, when you surround yourself with people that are doing it. And again, the cool thing about this technology world is you're surrounding yourself with people by just listening to their podcasts. And so if you can hear it over and over and over again, all of a sudden it just becomes a part of your life. Like that becomes a possibility, right? It's just like, whoa, I can do this. Like you've heard it so many times, like that's possible. So, having mentors and just getting around those people that are doing what you want to do is so freaking powerful. So powerful. Keep on listening to podcasts, listen to mine, listen to everybody's. Like just some people hate driving, Matt. Some people hate driving. Some people hate downtime. Like I love it. I'm going to be sitting in a deer stand, deer hunting, and I'm going to be sitting there for hours. And I love it because I'm going to have a podcast in one ear and I'm going to be listening for deer with the other ear. But I'm going to be listening. I'm going to be learning for hours on end while I just sit in beautiful nature. Like that's really cool. Take advantage of the downtime that you have. People hate jumping into a car and taking a road trip. I love road trips because I'm going to listen to Audible books. I'm going to listen to podcasts. I'm going to sit there and spend time and reflect. One of the things I love to do, Matt, is I love to go for a run or a bike ride. And I don't listen to anything when I do that because I listen to the own thoughts in my brain. I listen to the dreams that I have out there, and I allow my brain to go into places it otherwise doesn't go. I allow my mind to really just imagine and just dream and just think and just create. And that's some of my best time. And so, a lot of people are like, hey, what do you listen to when you go for a run or go for a bike or do a workout? I listen to the thoughts that are in my head and I listen to them and I allow them to create new opportunity, right? To become better than I was the day before, to become better than I was last year. And that's a big thing. I think that's been part of my success is it's almost a time of meditation and reflection.
Awesome. Yeah, I just finished reading this book called 2 Awesome Hours, which talks in part about setting yourself up for a time when you can be really creative, and and that's awesome that you found one for you.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt, you mentioned your why earlier. That's certainly a big part of how I was able to go from nothing really to $500 million is just having big goals and you're constantly changing those goals and you're constantly improving those goals. You're constantly making them bigger, but just having these goals and really, I wouldn't call it maybe not an end game, but just a goal of where we're getting. And you'll be surprised. Like for me, I've always been able to far exceed my long-term goals. A lot of times I don't hit my short-term goals. I've had many years where I've had a goal of purchasing, let's call it 600 units of multifamily, and I purchased 200. Well, did I fail that year? Maybe. Some people would say, yeah, because you didn't reach your goal. But then when I look and I go, well, I planned on having a specific amount of net worth by the time I hit 40. Well, I exceeded that goal. Right. But that was a long-term goal. So I oftentimes exceed my long-term goals and don't hit my short-term goals, but that's okay. And we're always constantly massaging our goals. We're maybe completely ripping them up and changing them, but you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay to pivot. And you have to be okay to have those paradigm shifts, Matt. There's so many times where you have these paradigm shifts where you think one way and you think that one way is the right way, the only way. And all of a sudden things happen, a few sequences of events, or maybe it's just one event happens, or somebody says something to you and you're like, whoa. yeah, you're right. Like I've been doing it this way, but this is possible, right? This is where I can go. And so be open to those paradigm shifts. Don't be stuck in the one paradigm that you know. Be willing to completely blow your head up, right? And be just like completely change the way you think, the way you act and stuff like that. So obviously, as long as you keep your integrity and all that kind of stuff, but there's been so many times where just like, man, just my mind is absolutely thinking one thing, and all of a sudden, I'm like, whoa, this is possible.
Yeah, you have to be willing to do what others won't in order to have what others don't.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. And part of that time we talk about the paradigm shift, and I talked about these podcasts and audibles and stuff like that, having these mentors, whether they're mentors in your life that you can speak to, you can see person and talk with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's a mentor that you're listening to on a podcast or an audible book, having these mentors that will talk differently than how you're thinking today is probably one of the most important aspects to being able to shift your paradigm, right? To be able to think differently. So be constantly open and be constantly learning and soaking in things, and just be constantly looking for new information.
You got to think and grow rich, man. That's
Think to grow rich. And there's a reason that's why the book is called that, Think and Grow Rich. It's not called, you know, do and grow rich. It's called Think and Grow Rich. And there's a reason for that.
yeah. Check your emails and grow rich.
Yeah. 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 I think, again, looking back, it's like that's probably been another, success. And I think maybe I could have been more successful if I would have been able to be more focused and maybe systems driven, and maybe a little bit more um yeah I guess focused and like process and systems driven. That's been stuff that's probably held me back, Matt. I've really tried to do a lot to help me with that focus, but I'm as guilty as anybody, as far as losing focus, maybe worse than a lot of people. I'm probably on the ADD scale, very high ADHD. I get distracted easily. I lose focus easily. But one of the things I did early on is I said I'm not watching TV anymore, and I occasionally will catch, you know, a half an hour of a football game, or a little bit of a hockey game or something like that. But I would say on an average week, I should let me actually qualify that. On an average month, I watch less than an hour of TV. I I'm on screen time less than an hour a month, probably. Now there's screen time I'm certainly on, right? I'm in front of my computer right now, Matt. I am sometimes, although I don't usually watch them, I'll play like a YouTube video, motivational or something like that. Usually I'm not watching them, so usually it's just in my ear. Um, so I am guilty maybe of that, but and I go on to social media and stuff, but I usually just go on there to post. And I'm not on there scrolling and looking at cats and weird stuff like that. So that's something that's really helped me focus. And again, I'm as guilty as anyone, man. I lose focus, but I have to get myself back. And one of the ways I can help focus myself again is to make sure I'm staying motivated and stay hungry and realizing, what am I doing this for? And that, again, that's going to change. You might be doing it for one reason now and be changing that. But I feel like we've all been given gifts, and it's a shame to waste those gifts. It's a shame um, not to be building something greater than yourself, right? We've all been given something in life, And so utilize those gifts to make yourself grow, but also to help influence the world in a positive way, right? So that's something I firmly believe. And that's probably why, at least right now, I don't see myself retiring, because I feel like if I retire, I'm wasting my gifts. I've had people ask me, when's enough enough? My parents ask me, when's enough enough? And, my answer is, well, when all of the problems in the world are solved, then enough is enough. I'm young now, so that's what I say now. Maybe when I'm 80, I'll retire. I don't know, but I just don't see it happening.
Awesome. Well, great advice. I mean, to our listeners out there, if you want to get $500 million in real estate, listen to people like Todd Dexheimer and other people who have already achieved it, versus your uncle who, doesn't have two pennies to squeeze together. You got to learn from the people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. And I don't have a magic pill, Matt. I mean, it's about taking these steps, and it's the other thing too. You have to take action. And there's a lot of people out there who say, "Oh, you got to take massive action. Got to think big." Blah blah blah. Do you really? Not really. You have to take action. That's the real key. And some people think they have to take this massive action, but they never take action because that's overwhelming to take massive action. It's just too much, Matt, to take massive action. So if it's too much to take massive action, just take action. Period. Just take action. Do something. Get involved.
Consistent action.
Consistent action. Right. There is more value, in my opinion, with taking that consistent action, starting the snowball. When you build a snowman, you don't start with a snowman, right? You didn't just start with a snowman. It didn't just appear, right? But that's what people think needs to happen. Oh, I got to think big. I got to think massive. And they think their snowman has to be there. It has to just appear somehow. Success has to happen, and it has to happen now. But they don't think about just grabbing a couple little pieces of snow, taking and making a snowball the size of your hands, right? And then rolling that on the ground until we make the snowman. So we have to just take little action and consistent, and continue to roll it, and then do it again and continue to roll it, and then stack it, and then stack it, and then stack it. And now we built our snowman, right? And now we've actually built something powerful that's going to last. And I guess our snowman melts, so that maybe it was a bad example, but in Minnesota, they last for a long time.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Well, this whole process, I'm going to call it the snowball effect.
The snowball effect. I love it. Yeah, man. So anyways, it's been a fun journey, Matt. And I'm super grateful for being here. We're definitely, the story is still being told, and we're going to continue to grow, and we're looking forward to the journey ahead. And, we've had some success, but certainly, we can do a lot more, and we can be, make a lot more positive impact, a lot more, have greater outcomes, and really affect our residents, our investors, and our communities, and our employees. And that's what it's all about.
Awesome.
Cool, man. Well, to our listeners, have a fantastic rest of the day. Make every day Saturday.
And happy Thanksgiving.
And happy Thanksgiving. Hey, thanks so much for listening. I appreciate you being a loyal listener. I would love to have you go on to our Facebook page and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, go on to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review. Don't forget to subscribe. Your rating and review just helps us push this out to more and more people and continue to grow our audience, and hopefully positively affect a ton of people out there that really need this and want this. So the other thing I've got for you is a free ebook on my website. So go on to VentureD venturedproperties.com, and download our free ebook on real estate and on syndication. And I've got some data points in there, some really good stuff for you. So I'd love to have you take a look at that. It's free. I'm not expecting anything from it. And also, look, if you want some help in multifamily, want some help learning, growing, getting your business off the ground, I would love to talk to you about what it would look like to work with me potentially and see if that's a good fit. So you can go to coachwithdex.com and check that out, and we can definitely have a call. Thanks a lot for listening. You make it a fantastic rest of the day. I'll catch you on the next episode.